Talk to me about this.
This was our first Streamliner that we ever made with a strap.
Talk to me about this guy.
The idea of this watch was born through the collaboration that we did with one of your favorite brands, mb&f. When you look at it, it doesn't say Moser, but then when you look at that dial, you've got that funky blue dial with the global light hands. So it's got this miniature, very, Moser-esque dial sitting right on there.
If you told me, Roman, pick one watch out of this entire case, the rose gold, the bracelet, everything about it, it almost looks hand-hammered because of the way the light plays off the bracelet, right?
And it's got the Vanta Black, and if you look at the hands,
the Vanta Black is just, oh my God.
Moser, some of the cleanest dials I've ever seen. Guys, we're in New York and we're about to go see a brand new space from an independent watchmaker. But before we go into the video, I ask you as always, if you like this content, hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. If you are a subscriber or not, hit the like, the share, the comment, all those things that help this channel grow. And we'll put a lot of effort into this. So all those things are greatly appreciated. Let's get to the video. Guys, you're not gonna believe it, but I'm actually in Moser land. And what this is the first location in the United States, the headquarters in the United States for Moser. Now you guys have heard me talk about Moser numerous times. One of my favorite independents. I think it's one of the more approachable independents. And Claudia was kind enough to invite me over. Show me the lounge, if you will. Look at some new releases, look at some watches, and talk about Moser. So let's do it.
This is very important. I was at Watch Time. Max Buser happened to be on one of the panels. I'm a bit of a fanboy, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna listen to this stuff. In my mind, only two brands on that panel were true independents. Light definition of independence, right? We talk about being around 20 years old, no older, being your own brand, not belonging to a group. But in my mind, it's also manufacturing your own stuff. Now, I don't mind when companies go out and they get a 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗯𝗍 line to make dials, right? The dials are insane. Or I don't mind, having a case made somewhere. But the guts of the watch, in my mind, should be what you said.
Yeah.
Manufactured in-house, in Schaffhausen, i.e. in Switzerland, by ourselves, and even making your own hairsprings. As a watch nerd, a horology nerd, that sings to me very well. But if you're gonna go out there and buy a base movement somewhere, modify it, finish it, whatever, to me that becomes more bespoke watchmaking rather than independent watchmaking, because the word watchmaking to me says you making the watch. Now let's jump up a little bit. Let's talk about some of these insane dials. This thing, my God. Like the minute I saw this, I was like, oh, what a dial.
So that is the Perpetual Calendar, and I think it's, we're in a leap year, so tomorrow you're gonna have the first time in 4 years, the 29th day. Absolutely love this watch. This was something that was born through 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗯𝗍, who's our CEO, who always wanted to create a tantalum watch. Now, the Perpetual Calendar movement goes back to 2006 when it was first designed by H.Moser and won the award at the Grand Prix de 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗍 for men's complicated wristwatch. Now, when you look at the watch, just like everything else that we do, super simple, the design, but also in the way that you set the watch, right? When you look at it, nothing says that it's a perpetual calendar. All you see is a couple of hands. There's a third hand which is pointing to the hour indicator, and that also acts as the month indicator. So you've got the month, the date, you've got a power reserve, it's a manual wound watch, and then you don't really need the leap year indicator on the front of the watch, right? Because we try to be as simple as possible.
Minimalistic is the words that come to mind when I look at Moser. And if you put a perpetual calendar side by side, right, and you take a time-only watch, it's so minimal that most will look at that and say, oh, I don't know. I knew that was a perpetual calendar because actually you showed me one of those before. And I'm like, I wonder if anybody would even know if you didn't say it, right?
And what's also great about perpetual calendars, and I know you're like an encyclopedia for watches, but when you think about perpetual calendars, you think about these sort of old, dainty, gold, crowded dials.
Crowded dials, that's exactly it.
And for us, we simplified it, but also you think about the complication of just having setting it, the danger zones, things like that. I mean, how many times in your life have you had people come up to you and say, I think I broke it, This is an unbreakable perpetual calendar. You could go backwards, you could go forwards. You only really need to correct the year just once with a stylus, and then you could put your stylus away. Everything can be done through the crown, and I think that's an amazing achievement, right?
That is amazing.
You could give that to
So it's
a
based
kid.
off of the Kerr-Klaus system, I'm assuming. Is that what we're talking about? We're able to set everything from the crown? Okay.
Correct. Another Schaffhausen legend.
Another Schaffhausen legend, you're absolutely right. So let's talk about price on a Perpetual. What does that retail for?
So the Perpetual calendar is a little bit higher than our average Perpetual calendars, because our Perpetual calendars, they start at around 45,000. This was a tantalum with the Grand Faux enamel dial. It's kind of like this hammered enamel. It's a bit more expensive. That one retails for around 82,000. Now, if you want a great value proposition, you've got this awesome, the tourbillon, which is 54,000.
It's this watch with a tourbillon.
Exactly, for 54,000. So you're buying an in-house made tourbillon where we could probably count on the number of fingers and toes that we have.
How many people actually make an in-house tourbillon?
or even how many of those made it to this country. Being a small brand and being a small crew, I could count in my head how many of these have actually made it here. So if you think about the rarity of it, the complication, the fact that it's so well made, everything done by us, I think it's just such a great value for what it is.
Talk to me about this guy, because this is just talk about eye candy and an eye catcher.
Another award winner. So this was a great surprise for us. The idea of this watch was born through the collaboration that we did with one of your favorite brands, mb&f. So it's no secret, we work with Max. We've done collabs with him. The Panda collab, which is still...
I was going to bring that up next. That was a complete home run. That watch, I said, that was my top pick for only watch.
Yeah. I feel like that was a general consensus, but we have to wait until,
see what they say, right?
See what happens. But the idea was, when we built this watch, there was really nothing like it, and we wanted to kind of build off of that first collaboration that we did, which was the cylindrical tourbillon. But we wanted to make it a little bit more sporty, a little bit more sturdy, and that's why we brought it into the Pioneer case. So that is a brand new movement that we designed, completely skeletonized. It's our first skeletonized watch that we've ever done before. You've got the cylindrical tourbillon, and then when you look at it, it doesn't say Moser, but then when you look at that dial, you've got that funky blue dial with the global light hands. So it's got this miniature, very Moser-esque dial sitting right on there. And to our happy surprise, we won the award in 2022 for the Tourbillon Prize. So
I'm not surprised, and I'll tell you why I'm not surprised. First of all, you look at it from afar. For those that have been around watches, some may think 𝗏𝗏. Some may even say Arnold & Son. There's some vibes in there. But the minute you pick it up and the minute you look at the dial, it's unmistakably Moser.
Yeah.
And because you took what you do in terms of your dials, you miniaturized it at 12 o'clock. But the minute you look at that watch, it is unmistakably a Moser. This thing is a knockout. What does this retail for?
So that's 86.9. And when we first unveiled this watch, people were saying, "Oh, that's a $100,000+ watch."
It is. In any world, this is $150,000 plus, and I think you guys knocked it out of the park. Talk to me about this.
This was our first Streamliner that we ever made with a strap. So as you know, the Streamliner was an integrated bracelet. It was our sort of our shot at that, and it was a home run pretty quick. When we started to open up boutiques around the world, we just kind of were messing around and decided, hey, why don't we try this? And it's our first and only existing Streamliner on a strap. And actually, that strap is rubber, although it looks textile, but it's completely rubberized strap. So it's got that feeling of a textured strap. It's a flyback chrono, and it's just great color combination.
I'm gonna give you another compliment, right? Companies that come out were predominantly dressier, a dress line, a strap line, if you will, right? Because right now there's a pretty thin line between dressy and sporty, right? It seems to go both ways for the most part, right? Because I can take any of these watches and consider them sporty, but yet I can also consider them dressy, right? A lot of companies are having a hard time transitioning into the ultimate watch that's been the most popular for years at this point, and that's the pinnacle sports watch on a bracelet. And if you look at a lot of companies that have tried to do that, most of them are failing. They're having a hard time transitioning to that.
Or they're just copying somebody else that did it. And then
look at some of the greats, like Breguet, for example. In what world are the sports watches ever sold well? Going back all the way to the Type 20, 21, the Air Naval chronographs and all those things. For the most part, people went to Breguet to buy a dressy watch, a well-decorated dressy watch, et cetera, et cetera. Yet, anytime they try to do a sports line, the only time they were successful, and there was a timing thing because bigger was better when they came out with the marine chronographs, but those were on straps. When they did the marine chronograph on a full gold bracelet, they were hideous. They didn't sell. I'm going to finish this off with the Streamliner, and I'm gonna go back to this tourbillon, which to me, you can talk history, you can talk quality, you can talk horology, but there is one important factor when it comes to any watch, any brand out there, and that's aesthetics. And honestly, aesthetically, this, wow. Like, if you told me, Roman, pick one watch out of this entire case, the rose gold, the bracelet, everything about it, it almost looks hand hammered because of the way the light plays off the bracelet, right?
And it's got the Vanta Black, and if you look at the hands,
the Vanta Black is just, oh my God.
If you look at the indexes, it's actually a cutout of the dial. They're sitting beneath the dial. But because Vanta Black, it's the material that we use on many of our dials, it's the darkest man-made material.
When you guys did that whole display with the watch disappeared,
exactly.
Like I must have watched that video like 10 times. Like, what happened? My camera guy, Cam, he's a part-time magician. Oh, that's his passion. That's his passion. And I'm like, can you do that? He's like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, you know, the Vanta Black thing started off as an April Fool's joke. We made a Vanta Black watch with Vanta Black hands, which is invisible, right? Because you can't see them.
You can't see it.
And people started writing in and calling in, trying to order these watches, and we were like, it was an April Fool's joke. So an April Fool's joke, and you know, us being Moser, always trying to have fun and be creative and do things, and you know, and the best way to do that was guerrilla marketing. So you know, over time with the Cheese watch or the Swiss Icons watch and so many of all those other fun watches, but that actually stuck, and now we have many of our watches with Vanta Black dials, and you know, we're the only ones that
I'll tell you,
use that.
when the Vanta Black thing popped off, I heard some people saying, oh, it's just another gimmick, it's just another this. You know what my response was? Go ahead and make one. If you're a watchman, go make that, right? You didn't think of it. It's like the same thing they say about modern. Oh, I could have painted that. That's the first thing you say when you see modern art, right?
Yeah, sure.
And you know what? I thought I didn't even knew about the April Fool thing. This is the first thing, you learn something new every day, but amazing. Look, I love the collection. First of all, thank you for opening your doors. Second of all, I don't think I've, in my lifetime, ever seen that many Mosers in one place.
And you won't.
And I probably won't anywhere else. Guys, for those of you that are watching, this space is open by appointment, right? You have to call in, make an appointment, and I'll tell you firsthand, it's a comfortable place to be. It's a cool place to be, and it's very, very approachable, which is what I started this conversation with. And I appreciate you allowing me the approachability to the collection. And next time in New York, I'll be stopping by again.
Oh, please do.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Not very often do we get, especially when it comes to independent, that many watches of that brand where you can sort of compare some of the older models, newer models. Some of the dials, obviously Moser is so well known for their dials. Definitely an A+ on the space, A+ on some of the new releases. You know, I was asked when I walked out of there what's my favorite watch. It was a very tough choice, but I'm gonna go with the Vanta Black Moser Streamliner in rose gold. That Vanta Black against that rose gold, which almost looked like it was hammered. Like it just looked like somebody literally plastered or sculpted that gold bracelet and case around it. But quick shout out to Claudia from Moserland. Thank you so much for having me. We'll definitely do this again. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more spotlights from brands and which brands specifically. And we'll be more than happy to oblige. And once again, don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe. See you next week.